Part 28. Doomsday, I am the only one in the world who has superpowers. Author, Gugu Da. Chapter 271. Chapter 271. Wang Ziwen is very distressed, the gaze under the manhole cover. Kill. 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 Die. Du Yuhang's eyes were red. He had been suppressed for too long, and now he was finally able to let it out, especially targeting the zombies who had forced him to run away. The spear in his hand was swinging without any rules, but it was enough. The zombies killed by the spear were turned into fly ash, and then became the cornerstone of Du Yuhang's strength improvement. Venting the dark emotions in his heart, while crazily improving his strength, Du Yuhang went crazy, he was possessed. It was not just Du Yuhang, the same is true for the students around him. Once they gain power, they go crazy. In their hearts, the human side is gradually covered up, leaving only killing. Kill non-stop, zombies kill, and humans kill too. They are noble new humans, while the old humans are just pigs, tools for them to improve their strength. 20 people, including Du Yuhang, rushed out of the office building and headed south along the main road to kill. There were too few zombies here. The closer you get to the south, the more zombies there are. If you want to quickly increase your strength, you have to rush to places where there are many zombies. On the 9th floor of the Qingfeng office building, Auguries stood next to the floor-to-ceiling window and looked down at the people below, with a cold look on his face. Kill, kill, the more you kill, the better. The more zombies you kill, the more terrifying the promotion I will get when I kill you. Ha ha, ha ha ha, ha 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 ha. Devil-like laughter echoed in the office. Auguries' figure had disappeared. On the main road, Du Yuhang and others, who still didn't know their fate, were still frantically killing zombies. Lin Fan's sudden change in the north did not. I don't know, he is not monitoring the entire Magic City 24 hours a day, so even his mental strength is as strong as Wang Yang Dahai. The night will eventually dissipate, the sun's rays will rise again, and the hospital will also welcome. This is the first major relocation. Not only Lin Fan has to move, but also the entire hospital. With this relocation, the City of Judgment will almost be formalized in the true sense. Farmland, orchards, vegetable fields, etc. will need to be expanded. The maids will also have to live outside, and the last part of the female warriors staying in the female warriors' dormitory will also officially live near the city wall or other places from today. With the hospital as the center and a radius of 5 kilometers, this area is used. The palace was built by Suzai Luo himself. Lin Fan did not need to take care of any of this. What he had to do today was to transplant the already large orchards, and the rest would be fine. This kind of thing was not important to Lin Fan. It couldn't be simpler. With a simple space replacement, the farmland, orchards, and vegetable fields were all moved 8 kilometers away. There happened to be more residential buildings here, so it was convenient for the maids every day. Lin Fan chose this place for his new home. I visited the Tianxia Villa area in Baikan district. The high-end villa area here is right next to the Huangpu River. Because of the good location and scenery, the house price here before the end was as high as 88,81 square meters. The new home is very big, with thousands of square meters. The villa is equipped with various entertainment facilities, including fitness rooms and bars. The gold and white decoration reveals a luxurious and noble atmosphere, with carpets, sofas, crystal lamps and various decorations. Even Lin Fan knows this even if he is not familiar with it. It must be high-end goods. Not to mention anything else, just the decoration like a Western palace and the furniture. The total of these will definitely not be much cheaper than the price of this villa. The villa is a bit messy, and there are even many places that can be seen at this time. A group of maids were cleaning up, while Lin Fan was looking around at his new home. From today on, this will be his next residence. Of course, he must familiarize himself with it in advance. Lin Fan is here. When getting familiar with their new home, Zhao Wanqing and others also went to the outer city to kill zombies. Now that the team is getting bigger and bigger, the speed of clearing zombies is getting faster and faster. It won't take long, with nearly 20,000 female warriors cleaning up. It is estimated that all the zombies in the second city wall have been cleared. 6 kilometers northeast of Dongcheng, Wang Ziwen and 40 female warriors are advancing steadily. Although Wang Ziwen became a female warrior relatively late, her starting point is relatively high. He was given the source power crystal, and his strength took off immediately. In addition, his personal strength was very strong, his attacks were ruthless and tricky, and his moves were all sure kills. They were simple and crude, and their strength was comparable to that of the first generation Li Fengjiao and others. A cold light flashed, the heads of the 4 zombies were cut off at the roots. Looking at the blood splattering, Wang Ziwen frowned slightly and turned sideways to avoid the dirty blood of the zombies. Today is different from the past. With a transfer order last night, she was transferred the second floor of the supermarket. Of course, there is no second floor of the supermarket now. After all, it has moved. It has moved into the high-rise area. The appearance needs to be paid attention to. I didn't think anything of living in the female warriors' dormitory before. After all, we were all women. No matter how embarrassed we were, we had seen them, let alone some blood on them. It was nothing. But now I live with Lin Fan, so I can okay? You can't go back with blood every day, right? Isn't that disgusting? Wang Ziwen felt that if she really went back with blood all over her body, Lin Yuya would have to ask her to get out and find a place to live by herself without saying a word. Wang Ziwen's abnormality was noticed by many female team members in the team, and they were all a little confused. Speaking of last night, these team members were extremely envious. Wang Ziwen and the others were transferred to high-level positions. This time, there were many people. It immediately caused a sensation among many female warriors. The enthusiasm of these female warriors was once again aroused, and those who felt that they had a chance were even more hopeful, hoping that they could be selected next time. Almost all of the female warriors were not dreaming about being selected by Lin Yuya. Recently, Lin Fan could be seen from a distance. This means that first come first, not to mention becoming Lin Fan's woman, even having a one-night stand is fine. Lin Fan is the only man in the entire force, and there is nothing else to think about. In addition, Lin Fan is so outstanding. Like walking spring. If there is one thing that sells best in Judgment City, it must be Lin Fan's photo. I guess Lin Fan never imagined that one day he would become the target of many women. Captain, what's wrong with you? Beside Wang Ziwen, a female team member who had a good relationship with Wang Ziwen took a step back and spoke in confusion. When the female team member heard the question, the others also raised their ears. Looking up at the woman who spoke, Wang Ziwen, knowing that her behavior of avoiding the blood many times attracted attention, she had no choice but to do this in order to prevent her clothes from being stained by the blood. After straightening the hair around her ears, Wang Ziwen's face unspeakably depressed. I'm fine. Wasn't it true that Mistress Yuya took me to the Lord yesterday? Naturally I have to be careful and go back with blood all over my body. If the Lord is unhappy, wouldn't I be unlucky? If you get kicked out, it will probably be difficult to get in again. After hearing what Wang Ziwen said, the team members all understood. Indeed, if you live with your master in the future, you must pay attention to your appearance. Impression is very important. If it arouses resentment, it will be difficult to restore it. That's true, but I haven't had time to ask you yet, Captain, how does it feel to live with the Lord? How does it feel to have close contact with the Lord? Excited. Did the Lord come last night? Looking at Wang Ziwen with envy, the female team member's tone of voice was filled with unspeakable yearning, and as she spoke, she immediately went off track. Wang Ziwen rolled her eyes at the female team member, not knowing what dirty things she was thinking about. I felt so nervous last night, my mind went blank, and I didn't dare to talk to the master. The master's aura was too strong. They are all like elementary school students who made mistakes. As for whether there is anything like that, you are just imagining it. We have only been there for the first night, how is it possible? Mistresses and the others are so good, it shouldn't be our turn in a short time. Stop thinking about it. Kill the zombies quickly. Do you still want to be chosen next time? Hearing what Wang Ziwen said, the female team members who felt hopeful quickly cheered up, and the speed of slowing down their hands increased again. It was like injecting chicken blood, and the speed of killing zombies increased sharply. Without the female team members despite the interruption, Wang Ziwen also plunged into the group of corpses and continued to kill the zombies. Wang Ziwen and a group of female warriors were very focused on killing zombies. When they didn't know it, the cover of a sewer pipe in their back was lifted, and a pair of his eyes secretly looked at them. After a while, the cover of the sewer was gently closed, and everything returned to calm. Xia Yuanhao was a thief before the end of the world, making a living by stealing. His skills were very good, and he often passed them by. With just a few kung fu skills, he was able to get his wallet into his hand. This superb skill allowed him to live like a fish in water before the end. Although he was not rich, at least he was nourished every day. But unfortunately, the end came, and he had a cool night. He was almost eaten by the woman he was happy with last night. He did not mutate into a zombie. Instead, the corpse of the young lady found in the bar last night mutated. With his flexible and dexterous body skills, Xia Yuanhao killed the woman who turned into a zombie. The young lady later moved to the current force and became a scout under the boss. Due to his vicious vision, Xia Yuanhao has allowed the underground forces to avoid fatal crises many times. Xia Yuanhao has been doing very well in the underground survivor force. Every day there was good food and drink, and there were endless women to play with. Today, he went out to check the surroundings as usual. His ears, which were different from ordinary people, made him very sensitive. When he passed under the manhole cover, he heard vague voices coming from above. The sound of footsteps was very dense, and there were also some sour squeaking sounds, which made Xia Yuanhao pay attention. After the sounds above his head gradually became distant, Xia Yuanhao waited for a while, and then he dared to push the manhole cover to check. What he saw were zombie corpses all over the ground. This phenomenon shocked him. He had seen countless zombies, but he had never seen so many zombie corpses. Looking into the distance, what caught his eyes were dozens of graceful corpses. The back view, white boots and white combat uniform, looked indescribably beautiful. Although he didn't see his face, just these back views made Xia Yuanhao extremely excited. Excited to the point of being excited. Xia Yuanhao's brain was still there. Yes, looking at the tough looks of these women, Xia Yuanhao took a breath of cold air in his heart. Good guy, fighting zombies with a tang knife? Are you tired of living? If you are caught by a zombie, it will be a good thing. You is dead. After looking carefully for a while, Xia Yuanhao only got a rough idea due to the distance of tens of meters. In short, these women are very fierce, and they are obviously a force established by a certain woman. Otherwise, it is impossible for a man to do it. No. And judging from the appearance of the other party, there are no thermal weapons. After all, this is the Eastern Empire, and the control is still very strict. If his boss hadn't sneaked into the police station, he wouldn't have many guns in his hands now. It was determined that these women after the situation, Xia Yuanhao became excited. It has been almost 2 months since the end of the world. He is basically tired of playing with the women of the underground forces. The only woman he has never played with is the boss's woman, but even if he has the courage to do so, he doesn't dare to move. Wrong thinking, unless you are tired of life. But the appearance of these women in front of you makes Xia Yuanhao's blood vessels burst. These women must be taken down. Including the forces behind these women, they must also be wiped out. The boss will definitely be there by then. Reward him heavily and randomly select a few of these women as personal belongings, that's for sure. Full of excitement, Xia Yuanhao grabbed the younger brother behind him, told him not to lose him, and ran all the way to the base camp of the underground forces. Metro Station. Doomsday, I am the only one in the world who has superpowers. Author, Gugu Da. Chapter 272. Chapter 272. The survivor force in the subway station, the ferocious drug lord. Is the Devil City big? It is very large, covering more than 6,000 square kilometers, but compared with a population of more than 25 million, it seems too small. Is a main road several tens of meters wide? But compared with a population of more than 25 million, it seems too crowded. This is not just the case in Magic City, but also in many cities. The large population leads to a large number of vehicles, inconvenient transportation, and traffic jams are common, so the subway came into being. The subway lines in Magic City are very developed and can be found in almost every corner of the city. Before the apocalypse, the subway was a convenient means of transportation for people, but after the apocalypse, the subway station has become a refuge for many people. Wherever there are people, there will be fights. Whoever has the biggest fist will be the boss. Xia Yuanhao walked all the way back to the subway station through the complicated pipeline, ignored the fawning expressions of a group of men, and went straight to the residence of the boss Wu Haihao. Xia Yuanhao was very excited. The clothes and back figures of those women stimulated him a lot. Men all have the desire to conquer, and desire is often the driving force for people to move forward. Rights, status, and women are stimulating Xia Yuanhao. Wanho's adrenaline. He knows that as long as this vote is completed, his status will definitely soar and he will become the person with the highest status and the most power under Wu Haihao. In the excitement, Xia Yuanhao ran all the way, ignoring the stops of several men, and directly opened the door of Wu Haihao's house. Snapped. Didn't you bitch eat? As soon as he opened the door, Xia Yuanhao heard a crisp sound and curses. He glanced over subconsciously and saw some scenes that he shouldn't have seen. The sound of opening the door also attracted Wu Haihao's attention. Wu Haihao's temper: he is very irritable, and he doesn't like others disobeying his orders. Secondly, others disturb him when he is having fun. And Xia Yuanhao has obviously violated the last of his taboos. A crazy look flashed in his eyes, and he looked at the station. Xia Yuanhao was in a daze at the door. Wu Haihao picked up the pistol next to him, raised it, and pulled the trigger at Xia Yuanhao. Bang! Seeing Wu Haihao's actions, Xia Yuanhao's face turned pale with fright. Only then did he remember Wu Haihao's taboo. He hurriedly knelt on the ground, dodging the bullet flying over his head by a hair. The scorching heat almost burned his scalp. Boss, have mercy. I have important news to report. I have important news to report. The gun was pointed at Xia Yuanhao, who was kneeling on the ground. The crazy look in Wu Haihao's eyes calmed down a little, and his face was gloomy. At this time, Xia Yuanhao, who was kneeling on the ground, was also in a state of confusion. He knocked his head on the ground and moved. They didn't dare to move. Considering Xia Yuanhao's outburst, Wu Haihao withdrew his pistol. Explain. If your news doesn't satisfy me, you still won't escape death. Go ahead, I'll give you 3 minutes. Before the apocalypse, Wu Haihao was a big drug lord, and he maintained a group of gangsters. All drug lords are ruthless people, and Wu Haihao is the same, or even worse. If you are not ruthless, you will not be able to stand still in the drug trafficking circle. This is even more true. If you are not ruthless, how can you suppress others? If you are not ruthless, how can your subordinates be convinced by you? Xia Yuanhao narrowly escaped death. Xia Yuanhao was so frightened that he almost peed. Is 3 minutes long? But it was short. Xia Yuanhao did not dare to hesitate, quickly raised his head, and then lowered his head in fear. His head was full of those flowers, and his head was buzzing. Boss, it's like this. I went to check on the zombies as usual today, but when I was passing by the main road of Dongfeng Middle Road, I heard vague conversations coming from the manhole cover. I was curious and listened carefully, but I didn't hear anything. What? None of this matters. What matters is those women. That group of women was great. Really, boss, I guarantee you will be interested. They were very wild, very energetic, and very powerful in fighting. There were about 30 or 40 of them. I couldn't see the exact number. By the time I pushed the manhole cover open, those women had already gone away. But I have already got all the information I should get. Those women are very powerful, and they are all women. They hold cold weapons and long knives in their hands. They kill zombies as if they are risking their lives. At that time, I was shocked by the corpses all over the ground. Frightened. According to my speculation, this group of women is obviously from a certain force, and they are probably all women. Otherwise, it would be impossible for women to come out to kill zombies. The equipment of those women is very simple, and they don't even have a gun. I think what's more, if we catch those women, wouldn't we be able to annex their power? Boss, you have to believe me, those women are really great. You will definitely be very interested. And you may be more interested in the boss of that force. Listening to the news reported by Xia Yuanhao, Wu Zhihao's expression was indifferent, and no specific thoughts could be seen. The woman who was frightened by the gunshot also sat on Wu Zhihao and shivered in fear, not even daring to move. Bang! A powerful and heavy slap was slapped on the woman's butt, and Wu Zhihao cursed angrily. What are you waiting for? Are you waiting for me to give you a ride? After being slapped, the woman was so frightened that she didn't dare to say a word. She quickly followed Wu Zhihao's instructions, while Wu Zhihao had a gloomy look on his face, thinking about the information reported by Xia Yuanhao in his head. Xia Yuanhao, who was kneeling on the ground, did not say anything. He didn't dare to move, even if his knees were numb, he didn't dare to make any movement. He was afraid that he might accidentally arouse Wu Zhihao's rage and give him a ride. He didn't want to die. After 10 minutes, Wu Zhihao threw away his hand. With the pistol in his hand, he strangled the woman's neck with both hands, roared amidst the woman's desperate roar, and then threw the strangled half-dead woman to the ground. Gudong! Ahem, ahem. The muffled sound and the woman's cough frightened Xia Yuanhao, and his mind went blank. After such a long time, could Wu Zhihao still want to kill him? Xia Yuanhao now feels unspeakable regret. Why is he so brain-dead? Wu Zhihao has a strong build, with bulging muscles on his bronzed body, and hideous scars all over his body, making him look particularly scary. Get up, this woman has rewarded you. If things are really as you said, I won't care about what happened this time. If things go wrong, both you and this woman will die. Do you understand? Xia Yuanhao felt a chill in his heart after hearing this, including the woman lying on the ground with bruises and coughing. But at this time, no one dared to ask for mercy or refute. Not only was it useless, it would also hasten his own death. Wu Zhihao simply don't listen to those, he only believes in his own judgment. I understand, boss. I can guarantee that everything I said is true. I don't know what those women look like, but they are definitely good enough. I still don't believe it. There are so many beautiful women in the Magic City, and there are so many women. There is no one you like, boss. Xia Yuanhao raised his head and promised again and again that now that Wu Zhihao has rewarded him with that woman, it doesn't matter even if he looks up and sees it. As long as you understand, go out and ask the brothers to assemble. I'll get dressed and go out. Yes, yes, yes. Escaped, Xia Yuanhao climbed up in a hurry, ignoring the soreness and numbness in his knees, and ran out of the room quickly. He didn't want to stay here for half a minute. As for the woman who rewarded him, he didn't bother to care about it. Not long after Xia Yuanhao went out, Wu Zhaihao walked out fully dressed, followed by the woman from before. The woman was very beautiful, with tears on her face and horrible pinch marks on her throat. He looked at the station with sinister eyes. Xia Yuanhao and a few of his trembling men were standing next to him. Xia Yuanhao snorted coldly and asked, "Have all the brothers gathered together?" Xia Yuanhao nodded quickly, back to the boss, "Except for the 1,000 brothers who stayed behind, the remaining brothers have all gathered. There are 1,251 people in total." "Just what? Is it too much to mobilize the troops?" Xia Yuanhao smiled and did not dare to speak. The lion is fighting the rabbit with all his strength, not to mention that we have to steal the opponent's power. Is this a lot?" Short-sightedness. Wu Zhaihao turned to look at the men guarding the gate next to him, and said coldly, "If it weren't for the fact that you have been following me for many years, I should have killed you for what just happened." The two gatekeepers were so frightened that they were scared to death. They quickly lowered their heads and promised, "Boss, we know, there will be no next time." The two of them wanted to kill Xia Yuanhao. They just let this kid run past without paying attention. It was too late to stop him. Xia Yuanhao started his career as a thief. With his speed and agility, then just like a loach, it was impossible to catch them. The two of them were unprepared for a moment. How could they stop the excited Xia Yuanhao? He was passed by him. He subconsciously wiped the cold sweat on his head. Xia Yuanhao was really frightened. He would never play with this kind of heartbeat again. When he was pointed at the gun, he almost peed his pants in fright. Under the leadership of Wu Zhaihao, more than 1,000 people were dispatched. His posture attracted the attention of countless people in the subway station. Wu Zhaihao was also capable. He cleared out the zombies in the subway station and then used this place as a stronghold. For nearly 2 months, he kept gathering survivors. The population of the subway station is more than 9,000. Under Wu Zhaihao's high-pressure policy, no one dared to object. Those who dared to rebel were fed to zombies by Wu Zhaihao. Wu Zhaihao was so powerful that he trapped 4 living zombies. It was specifically used to punish those who were disobedient. Over time, under this fear, no one dared to object. More than 1,000 people went straight to the sewer pipes on Xia Yuanhao's path, and soon found Xia Yuanhao's subordinates. After following the mark, he found the spy who was still following the mark. Hearing the heavy footsteps behind him, the younger brother quickly put down the manhole cover and climbed down the ladder. When he saw Wu Zhaihao and others walking over, the younger brother nodded and bowed. "Boss. How's it going?" It was right above, not far away, less than 30 meters away. I didn't dare to get too close for fear of being discovered. Wu Zhaihao nodded after hearing this, waved his hand to let the man push him away, and climbed up the ladder. Pushing open the manhole cover, Wu Zhaihao looked forward, and was shocked at first sight. There were corpses everywhere in front of him. Most of the zombies were dead. Wu Zhaihao took a look and saw that there were at least hundreds of corpses. Looking ahead, Wu Zhaihao saw about 30 or 40 people wearing white combat uniforms and white boots. The woman was fighting the zombies with a tang sword. To be honest, Wu Zhaihao was also attracted by her strong figure and charming back. The more powerful a man is, the more eager he is to conquer those powerful women, regardless of whether they are women with strong military strength, or women in high positions, or those iceberg-shaped women, which will satisfy men's desire for conquest like never before. Now Wu Zhaihao is tempted. Those fierce leopard-like women in front of him are tempted by them, no matter how they look. He decided to capture these women. Putting down the manhole cover, Wu Haihao jumped down directly, looked at everyone, waved his hand and shouted according to the original plan. Today, we must capture those women. Xia Yuanhao, you are lucky, your life has been saved. I want those women. No one can stop it. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Doomsday, I am the only one in the world who has superpowers. Author, Gugu Da. Chapter 273. Chapter 273, Wang Ziwen breaks through the condensation realm, and a woman's cry for help suddenly comes. Wu Haihao gave an order, and more than 1,000 people instantly moved and spread along the underground pipes in all directions. It seemed that they planned to rush to Wang Ziwen and the others to kill them. Outflank. Most of Wu Haihao's men are desperados. They have basically done all kinds of murders and arson after the apocalypse. They are extremely vicious. Basically everyone has 1 or 2 lives on their hands, and they even kill a lot of zombies. Watching his men disperse, Wu Haihao waved his hand, greeted the remaining men behind him, and ran straight ahead. He planned to block the women on the ground right in front. He must get such a wild woman. These women are countless times stronger than the women he has played with before. He likes such powerful women. The stronger the Rouge horse, the more he likes it. It is best to conquer her directly and become a sharp knife in his hand. You can be his lover during normal times and a sharp knife when you go out. More than 1,000 people were running wildly in the underground pipes. On the ground, Wang Ziwen and 40 female warriors were still killing zombies. When passing some stores, they would check to see if there were any survivors. If not, they would move on. Wang Ziwen is a little strange now. She has walked 2 kilometers and has not seen even a living person. Are the survivors here so unlucky? Were they all eaten by zombies? Or is it hidden somewhere she doesn't know? It's not that Wang Ziwen hasn't thought about places like sewers, but those zombie rats stopped her from thinking about them. But many times, it just happens. There were no survivors, which saved Wang Ziwen a lot of time. She led her 40 female soldiers forward, but all the zombies who appeared in front of her were killed by their swords without exception. On the wide main road, except for vehicles, there are corpses of zombies everywhere. The group of people kept walking, and more zombies died at the hands of Wang Ziwen and others. From becoming a female warrior to now, Wang Ziwen didn't know how many zombies she had killed, but now she had a feeling. That is, she seems to be about to break through. With the source power crystal given by Lin Fan, Wang Ziwen's attributes have soared to more than 30 points. Coupled with killing countless zombies, her attribute points are now approaching the 40-point mark. Once she crosses that, she can be promoted to Ninggang realm. This feeling of being about to break through came very suddenly. Wang Ziwen was stunned for a moment, and subconsciously turned on her watch to check her personal attributes. The watch not only records military achievements, positioning, etc., but can also check personal attributes and other functions. Now Wang Ziwen is very curious about her strength. Is she really about to break through? Character, Wang Ziwen. Strength, 39. Agility, 39. Intelligence, 21. Physique, 40. Realm, peak of Qi condensation realm. She hasn't looked at her personal attributes for a few days. Now when she opened it, she found that her physique had been promoted to 40 points unknowingly. No wonder she felt like she was about to break through. As long as either strength or agility were improved, she could officially break through to the Ninggang realm. When the time comes for the Gang Qi to be released, I heard from the female warriors of the first generation that they are not afraid even if they encounter individual anti-tank rockets. It seems that the individual anti-tank rocket launcher that was captured before was used to test the defensive power. It took a single anti-tank rocket without any damage, but the ground under its feet was damaged and a big hole was directly blown out. Fighting against individual anti-tank rockets consumes more gang chi. As soon as they break through to the condensation realm, the chi in their body will be exhausted after resisting up to 2 rounds. However, this is already terrifying. This means that even if they face a single soldier counterattack, there is no need to be afraid of powerful thermal weapons like tank rockets. With their speed, getting hit is not as simple as difficult, but very difficult. Ordinary people's eyes can't keep up with their speed, and they can't even aim. How about hitting them with a hammer? Moreover, Li Fengjiao and Su Yan, the strongest people in the first generation, have almost 1 foot of gang chi, which is incredible. A 3-foot gang chi wall is just around the corner. Knowing that she was about to break through, Wang Ziwen was even more excited. She was finally going to reach this point. With the breakthrough as motivation, Wang Ziwen's speed in killing zombies greatly increased, and the Tang Dao in her hand left an after-image. Often, before the light of the knife passed, Wang Ziwen had already rushed out several meters. After a few seconds, the corpses of the standing zombies were separated. Wang Ziwen suddenly went berserk. The female warriors were stunned for a moment. Their hands were a little faster and they chased after Wang Ziwen. The slow speed before could ensure that their physical strength was maintained at a normal level. The consumption was very low, and the speed would naturally increase. The more tired you are, the more energy you spend. They don't know much about swordsmanship, so naturally they don't know how to save effort and how to achieve high speed and speed. Not everyone is Lu Weining and knows Xinyu swordsmanship. The team members didn't understand Wang Ziwen's situation, but they soon understood. As Wang Ziwen chopped off the heads of several zombies with one blow, suddenly, a tyrannical momentum rushed out from Wang Ziwen. The terrifying aura was like the sharpest sword blade. All the zombies who tried to get close to Wang Ziwen were killed one after another. Crushed by the energy, the explosive momentum forced the female team members to retreat continuously. There is no comparison between them and Wang Ziwen. They have never eaten source power crystals. At most, they have saved enough judgment coins in the past few days to exchange for a source power pill. However, the difference between the power of source power pills and source power crystals is not even a bit different. Eating one only increased a few points of 4-dimensional attributes, and some people even had no change in their intelligence attributes. Among these female warriors, the strongest attribute point can barely break 30 points. The higher the strength, the harder it is to improve, and the wider the gap. Among the team members who barely reach 30 points, Wang Ziwen can easily destroy them. 10, that's the difference. Before you draw your sword, I have already chopped off your neck. What can you use to fight me? In terms of speed alone, it is already absolutely crushing. With Wang Ziwen as the center, the gang chi kept raging towards the surroundings. The gang chi whirlpool was like a meat grinder. All the zombies within 5 meters around Wang Ziwen were crushed to pieces by the gang chi. Even the blood could not fly in. They were all crushed by the gang chi. Blocked out. With Wang Ziwen as the center, gang chi forcibly opened up a vacuum zone with a radius of 5 meters. Within this radius of 5 meters, it is the restricted area for zombies. Let alone these zombies, even if a female warrior is thrown in there, it will be, his life was instantly cut into blood mist. Wang Ziwen's breakthrough did not last long, and soon the gang energy was withdrawn by Wang Ziwen. At this time, the team members dared to get close to Wang Ziwen. Captain, did you just break through the Ning gang realm? So strong. The momentum alone knocked us more than 10 meters away. Yes. Too strong. Is that the Ning gang realm? I felt like I was like a little ant under that aura, and I felt extremely uncomfortable when I got even slightly closer. Me too, too strong. Listening to the team members' enthusiastic inquiries, Wang Ziwen smiled slightly. She successfully broke through, and she was in a good mood. Finally, she was promoted to the Ninggang realm. It's okay, you have to work hard, and it won't take long before you can reach my level. Wang Ziwen said that it would take at least a week for the fastest among the team members to reach her level. The gap brought by that source of power crystal is too big. These team members, many of them had become female warriors before her, and now they have been overtaken by her by an unknown amount. Hearing Wang Ziwen's encouragement, the female warriors boosted their morale, looked at the zombies charging towards them again, and shouted, holding the Tang Dao, she rushed forward. Seeing the team members' desperate efforts, Wang Ziwen smiled and rushed forward. The Ninggang realm was not the key point. Improving strength was like sailing against the current. If she did not advance, she would retreat. She could not have that. Not slacking off at all. With Wang Ziwen's stimulation, the advancement speed increased by 2 minutes again, and she continued to kill hundreds of meters. Suddenly, Wang Ziwen stopped, frowned, and looked at the branch road on the left. She waved a sword energy to the general. The zombies tens of meters away on a line in front cleared a vacuum zone, and Wang Ziwen asked, did you hear any sounds? The roar of the zombies was so loud that Wang Ziwen was not sure whether she heard it correctly. The female warriors around were confused when they heard Wang Ziwen's question. After slashing their swords one after another, they all stopped and listened. But it's a pity that I didn't hear anything. Unlike the team members around him, Wang Ziwen, who broke through to the Ninggang realm, has very sensitive ears. In addition, all the zombies around him have been killed, and the nearest zombie is still 30 or 40 meters away. Far away, she suddenly became quiet. Help, help! Who can help me? Help! The voice was very weak, probably because it was too far away, but Wang Ziwen was already sure that someone was asking for help, and it was a woman. Someone is asking for help. There should be survivors nearby. Follow, come. After 20 people broke up, 20 people followed me to clean up the zombies on the branch road here. After saying that, Wang Ziwen rushed directly towards the branch road. The zombies rushing along the way could not block Wang Ziwen's path. 50 meters away from the branch road, Wu Haihao and more than 1,000 of his men were lurking in the surrounding houses. There are everything upstairs and downstairs. Hiding in a coffee shop, looking at the woman hanging on the third-floor balcony through the window, Wu Haihao was in a bad mood. He had just lured away most of the zombies on the branch road. Then some of them were killed, and then a woman was hung outside as bait, but... Damn you, why don't you hang further? The place where the woman was hanging was 40 or 50 meters away from the main road. At such a distance, no one could hear the woman even if she screamed. What kind of cerebral palsy are these men? He wished he could go over and kick the man responsible for this to death. Looking at Wu Haihao's unkind expression, Xie Yuanhao swallowed dryly and suggested, boss. How about we change streets? Wu Haihao endured the anger in his heart and looked at the door of the coffee shop. There was a man over there. The subordinates were quietly observing the outside. Monkey, are those women coming? Or has it already passed? The subordinate who was called a monkey was very thin, and his pointed monkey cheeks did look a bit like a monkey. When he heard Wu Haihao's question, the monkey said without looking back, boss, I saw those women, but it seems like he has no intention of stopping and is going straight over. Ah, it has passed. Wu Haihao became even more angry after hearing this. He stood up and was about to leave the coffee shop. This time he must punish that evil pen for hanging so far away. Are you Zhang Taigong? Are you trying to hang your horse? Wu Haihao just walked to the door and asked. The monkey looking at the door suddenly became happy. Coming. Coming. They are back. Boss, boss. Those women are back again. And it is rapidly approaching the encirclement on our side. Doomsday, I am the only one in the world who has superpowers. Author, Doomsday. Chapter 274. Chapter 274, The Danger Foreseen in Advance. The calm Wang's Hai Wen Wu's Hai Hao, who was originally angry, stopped immediately when he heard the monkey's cry of surprise, with a look of astonishment on his face. "Is this okay?" Walked through and came back. It was really hard for those women to hear it even though they were so far away, but the women hanging outside were also working very hard. The sound was so hoarse that he could hear it even though they were more than 10 meters away and there was a glass door with good sound insulation. Clear, as expected, a woman is a woman, and this high note is fierce. Wu's Hai Hao decided that if this woman performed so well, she would be rewarded when she returned. Now that those women are here, Wu's Hai Hao doesn't plan to go out. What's the point of going out as an ambush? Moreover, those women are still far away. Isn't he going out now to alert others? It won't be that easy to chase after that. You have to wait until all the women are surrounded before you can take action. He quickly rushed to the second floor. As a commander, he must always have first-hand information and issue orders. When the time comes, he will throw a cup as a signal, and all his subordinates lurking nearby will rush out immediately. Standing in a hidden corner on the second floor, Wu's Hai Hao looked towards the end of the street, where dozens of women were approaching quickly with tang knives in hand. The zombies blocking the way were not threatening at all, and were beheaded like cabbage. Wu's Hai Hao's eyesight was very good, but he was not able to see what a person looked like from dozens of meters away. As the women approached, Wu's Hai Hao gradually opened his eyes, and the light in his eyes became brighter and brighter. It is the animality of conquest and the madness of wanting to possess. He saw it. That's right. As the women came closer, he saw it. There are more than 20 women in the front row, each wearing a white and black slim-fitting combat uniform. The skirt-like combat uniform is full of beauty. Each of them has a beautiful figure, especially the face. Wu's Hai Hao wants to. I can't hold it any longer. He can no longer hold back the animal blood in his body. Pretty. Beautiful. Especially the one in the middle who took the lead made him unable to take his eyes away. Words such as heroic, and stunningly beautiful were not enough to describe this woman in Wu's Hai Hao's heart. She was simply the most perfect woman in his heart. These women. It's all his. It must be his, and he will kill anyone who dares to covet it. Moreover, he would also take down the forces behind these women, imprisoning all the good-looking ones, and only release them after they are completely captured and conquered. As for the ugly ones, those that he didn't like, or those that were tired of playing life and death and refused to give in, he would reward them to his subordinates. When he ate meat, he would always give his brothers a sip of soup. Holding a cup in his hand, Wu's Hai Hao felt indescribable excitement in his heart. He was waiting for these women to rush into the ambush circle he had prepared. When the time came, they would shoot hundreds of guns. No matter how powerful these women were in combat, they would still have to fight. Surrender under the threat of firearms. If they don't give in, interrupt him and take him back. He has many ways to make these women give in. Close, closer. Not only Wu's Hai Hao was looking at Wang Ziwen and others who were rushing over, but more than 1,000 men who were lying in ambush around him were also looking at Wang Ziwen and others who were rushing over. Their breathing became rapid, their eyes were shining, and they wanted to rush forward. On the street, Wang Ziwen was moving forward quickly with 40 female team members. She had already seen the woman who was hung up on the balcony on the third floor, and a large number of zombies attracted by the sound gathered below. 40 meters, 30 meters. Suddenly, Wang Ziwen frowned. As her strength became stronger, her sense of crisis became stronger and stronger. It was fine before, but as she got closer, a sense of crisis lingered in Wang Ziwen's heart, and it became stronger and stronger. The pace slowed down, and Wang Ziwen glanced forward. Apart from zombies, She didn't find any other dangers. Wang Ziwen didn't believe it, and looked at the shops on both sides with hidden eyes. Soon, Wang Ziwen saw something next to a window. A fleeting figure. Not just here, she also saw some men secretly looking at her in several places. Looking at the hanging woman, Wang Ziwen probably understood. This is someone who is probably setting up a trap to attack them, and the source of the sense of crisis comes from these people. With her face unchanged, Wang Ziwen moved forward steadily. Her mouth did not move, but her voice was compressed into a line by the air, and it was accurately transmitted to the ears of the 40 female team members around her. Be careful. Someone is ambushing us. This is a situation, but the danger should not be great. These people should not have any powerful weapons. At most, they only have some firearms. These things are not a big threat to us. Just be careful. Hearing Wang Ziwen's voice transmission, many female team members were shocked. There was no sign of anything wrong on their faces. They were still moving forward, but secretly they were already paying attention and were highly concentrated. For these women whose attributes exceeded 20 points, for soldiers, the threat of firearms has been reduced to a certain level, unless it is a powerful sniper rifle, but as long as it does not hit the head or heart, they will not die even if they take a shot. With that, moving forward, these female team members have also felt the faint crisis. It is the instinct of the strong warning them, but the intensity of the warning is not strong, which means that the person ambushing them is not a big threat to them. Captain, I have already felt that the threat is not great, and for the captain, it should be nothing. Listening to the voice in her ears, Wang Ziwen was completely relieved. Even if there were zombies blocking the way at a distance of more than 10 meters, they would be cleared quickly. Standing below the woman, Wang Ziwen looked up at the shouting voice on the third floor. The woman, who was already hoarse and almost speechless, raised her eyebrows and showed a mocking smile. Are you tired? The woman didn't know why and nodded quickly. I'm so tired, my throat hurts, come on, help me. Please, my arm is about to be broken. How many people are in the room? Or how many people are here this time? Can you tell me something? Looking at this woman leisurely, Wang Ziwen was not afraid of being surrounded at all. On the contrary, the woman hanging in the air was confused by the questions. What are you talking about? Why can't I understand? Please come up and save me. My companions left me hanging here and ran away. If you don't come, I will die of hunger and thirst here. Turning a blind eye to the woman's hoarse pleas, Wang Ziwen held the tang knife in her hand and looked at the woman in the air indifferently. Aren't you planning to come out yet? On the second floor of the coffee shop, seeing this situation, Wu Haihao already understood that they were exposed, but he didn't understand, how were they exposed? This makes no sense at all. No one of them showed their heads during the whole process. How did these women find out? Moreover, the tone is still so sure. Isn't she afraid of the guns in their hands? Or is she betting that they don't have guns in their hands? If that's the case, then I'm sorry. He just wants to tell these women on the street that they made a wrong bet. They keep pinching in their hands, throwing the cup he held onto the street with all his strength. Wu Haihao couldn't bear it any longer and roared, "Do it!" Crack! At the same time, the cup shattered on the street, and crisp sounds and roars echoed in the street. Immediately afterwards, thousands of people rushed out at once, rushing out from every corner of the street. The windows of various shops, from the windows on the second floor and even on the roof, figures of men came out one after another. Some of these men held pistols in their hands, and some held weapons such as iron rods and machetes. Each of them had a fierce look on his face and flashing eyes. The greedy light made Wang Ziwen and others want to eat it directly into their stomachs. Seeing so many people rushing out of the surroundings, Wang Ziwen was stunned, and the female warriors around were stunned. They knew that someone would ambush, however, there are too many people. There must be thousands of people in this dense crowd. Just to block 41 of them. Are these people really sick? Anti-aircraft guns to fight mosquitoes. Holding an anti-aircraft cannon in their hand? Armed with a pistol, Wu Haihao slowly walked out from the second floor. He held his hands on the railing and looked at Wang Ziwen and others who were stunned on the street. A relaxed smile appeared on his face. The bizarre situation of Wang Ziwen and others before had really made him. After being nervous for a moment, Wu Haihao felt his heart go into his stomach when he saw the expressions of women like Wang Ziwen. He guessed that these women thought they were strong enough and skilled in art, so they dared to rush into the encirclement, but he didn't expect that he would. He was so ruthless and directly mobilized thousands of people, so he was stunned on the spot. He felt that the dozens of women on the street must have felt desperate when they saw so many people coming out around them, right? Is it surprising? You didn't expect there would be so many of us, right? How about it? If you put down your weapons and surrender, you will suffer less physical pain. I don't want to be rough with you. After all, guns don't have eyes. They are just holes when you hit them. No one will operate on you now. It's very big. Chances are you will die. As long as you surrender to me, I can give you very high treatment. I don't like others to reject me, otherwise I will be very angry. The consequences of my anger are terrible. I don't think you will see my angry back. After a brief period of shock, Wang Ziwen regained her composure. She had nothing to be afraid of. Wasn't it just more than 1,000 people? For her, what was there to be afraid of? It was just more than 1,000 dying people. She just didn't expect that the other party would send out so many people to ambush them, that's all. Killing more than 1,000 people was as simple as crushing ants to her, even if they had guns. Give a baby. Can a baby threaten an adult with a dagger? No, even a baby can't hold a dagger. A pistol in the hands of these people is fine for dealing with ordinary people, but dealing with them is no better than holding a fire stick in their hands. The difference is not as useful as the iron rod or the machete. Looking in the direction of the second floor with a mocking gaze, Wang Ziwen said disdainfully, the very high salary means being your woman? I won't even pee and have my face shined on you. Are you worthy? How many do you have? You are already a very young person, but you still speak like a middle-class person. The consequences of your anger will be serious. I don't know how serious it is, and I don't want to know. I only know that you are all going to die here today. Do you think you are ambushing us? It seems that you have surrounded us all, but in fact, you are now dead bones in the grave. With cold eyes, Wang Ziwen raised the Tang Dao in her hand, pointing the tip of the knife at the livid Wu Haihao on the second floor, with murderous intent. Kill. Leave no one behind. Doomsday, I am the only one in the world who has superpowers. Author, Gugu Da. Chapter 275. Chapter 275, I pretended to be cool for a long time, but was killed with a knife. That's it? Anger. An unprecedented anger hit his heart, and Wu Haihao was going crazy. How dare this woman in front of him mock him like this? He swore that he would catch this woman and play with her severely. When he got tired of playing, he threw her to all his subordinates and let her be played by thousands of people. He wanted her to know what regret and despair were. Kill. Give me a hand. Do it. Don't hit your upper body, just hit me all over. Damn it, I want to catch him alive. Although Wu Haihao has been mad, it does not mean that he has lost his mind. The crazy roar echoed in the streets, and more than 1,000 people could hear it clearly. However, it was not these people's turn to take action at all. The Prince Wen and others moved first. Wang Ziwen still understood the principle of capturing the thief first. In a flash, he rushed more than 10 meters to the second floor. Wu Haihao was frightened. He didn't understand this. What happened? 1 second, this woman was downstairs more than 10 meters away, and the next second she came directly in front of him. Let's not talk about how this woman, who was more than 10 meters away, came directly. This was a height of 6 or 7 meters. Ah, can you really fly? His pupils suddenly shrank. Wu Haihao stepped back, raised his gun and was about to shoot. He no longer cared about catching anyone alive. His life was under huge threat. At this time, he still wanted to catch someone. Those who live are looking for death. Before he could raise the muzzle of his gun, Wang Ziwen sneered and waved his hand. The sharp blade cut off the barrel of the gun like cutting tofu, and the entire pistol turned into scrap metal. Boom. Click. With a kick, Wu Haihao, who was about to speak, was kicked out of the air. The sound of bones breaking in mid-air was heard, and a large mouthful of blood was spurted out by Wu Haihao. The figure flew upside down for more than 10 meters, and then hit the wall hard. A dent was made in the wall. The cracked spider web-like traces spread instantly, and the large splash of blood directly stained the wall. Wang Ziwen's the kick was so terrifying that it directly broke all the ribs in Wu Haihao's chest. The terrifying force embedded him into the wall. The violent impact shattered all his blood vessels, and he instantly hemorrhaged more than 5% of his body's total volume. Wu Haihao's blood is everywhere on the wall. His accent was hollow, and death came so quickly that Wu Haihao didn't react at all. He only breathed his last breath. He didn't expect that this attack would cost him his life without catching any meat. He stared blankly at Wang Ziwen, who was standing at the window with a cold gaze. Under the sun, the woman wearing a white combat uniform was so beautiful and stunning, like an angel in the sky. Blood and internal organs kept pouring out of the goblet, and Wu Haihao's head hung weakly. A major drug lord, the leader of a group of nearly 10,000 underground survivors, unexpectedly died right here in a face-to-face encounter. Looking at the dead Wu Haihao with cold eyes, Wang Ziwen said coldly, "You are such a piece of trash, even if you lick my shoes, it would be dirty. In my eyes, there are only two kinds of men, one is my noble Lord Lin Fan, and the other is my noble Lord Lin Fan. You are dead." After saying this, Wang Ziwen turned around, looked at the battlefield on the street, and jumped down with the Tang Dao. The streets were in complete chaos. The 40 female warriors were like tigers rushing into the flock of sheep. Wherever they passed with Tang knives, blood splattered. No man could survive for a second in front of the female warriors, even if he was holding a knife in his hand. A pistol cannot guarantee that they will live for one more second. As for the men holding iron pipes or steel knives, they were no better. Those weapons were no different than tofu in front of Tang Dao. Trying to block them was like joking. The female warriors were cut in half with their weapons. Walking on the street, Wang Ziwen looked cold, and the Tang Dao in her hand was like the death sickle. Wherever she passed, the bodies of all the men were separated, even those with pistols were no exception. Bang 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 bang. The gunfire was piercing, and Huang Qinchin's bullets broke through the air and shot towards Wang Ziwen. For these bullets, Wang Ziwen did not even move to block them. The bullets flew past, and they all stopped about an inch in front of Wang Ziwen, as if being caught. It settled in the air and soon fell to the ground. With the Gangqi protecting her body, there is no way these pistols can hit Wang Ziwen. Let alone these pistols, the individual anti-tank rocket launchers are coming, and they can't do anything to protect her body with Gangqi, unless there are two or more. But at that time, Wang Ziwen would not stand and let them beat her. Waving the long knife, Wang Ziwen's face was cold and her eyes were cold. Wherever she passed, there were mountains of corpses and seas of blood. With each step she waved, heads were rolling in, and her murderous intent was high. There was no one on Wang Ziwen's side that could stop her. Her seemingly gentle footsteps appeared several meters away with each step, and everyone along the way was killed. Bang bang bang. Bullets were fired from mid-air. Wang Ziwen looked up and saw that there were still people upstairs. She turned around and went directly upstairs. Wang Ziwen went in and killed each room, leaving no one alive. The blood stained Tang Dao, and sprinkled all over the street. On the street, the female warriors are not as powerful as Wang Ziwen and can withstand bullets, but these female warriors are not weak either and are very fast. The bullets can only hit a dozen meters behind them, often when they fire. These female warriors had already rushed out more than 10 meters, unable to aim at all. Bang bang bang. Ding 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 ding. Facing more than a dozen men holding pistols, Ning Yuzhen's eyes were cold and full of murderous intent. She did not rush to take action, but walked towards these men step by step. Facing the bullets coming from them, Ning Yuzhen Jane did not dodge. She swung the Tang Dao in her hand, and the blade knocked down the bullets one after another. There was a clanking sound, fire was flying, and no bullet could get close at all. Ning Yuzhen advanced step by step. More than a dozen men were almost frightened crazy. Their faces were pale, and there was a look of fear in their eyes. They only knew that they were blind. Holding the gun and pulling the trigger, he kept howling. "Don't want. Do not come. Don't come over here. Die. Die. Why don't you die? Damn it. Why don't you die? Ah. Why doesn't the pistol work?" Grass. Despair, fear, collapse, and other emotions are filling the minds of these men. Now they no longer want to covet these women. They even hope that these devil-like women will leave quickly. They want to leave. They are afraid. They don't want to die. They don't understand why these women are so scary and not even afraid of bullets. What kind of joke are you kidding about cutting bullets with a knife? This is not a movie. Ka. Pistol bullets are not unlimited. Soon a dozen men after firing all the bullets in the pistol was out of bullets, and the men became even more frightened. Looking at Ning Yuzhen approaching step by step, these men collapsed. It was so scary, they seemed to see a ghost coming towards them. That feeling made them weak, and they couldn't even turn around and run for their lives. Plop. 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 Amidst the muffled sounds one after another, more than a dozen men knelt on the ground, with expressions of fear and despair on their faces. My eyes became dull. "Spare me. Spare your life. I don't want to die. Forgive me. Please, don't kill me. I can do whatever you want, please. I don't want to die, don't kill me, I really don't want to die. Woohoo." Looking at these men who were kneeling down to beg for mercy or even crying bitterly, Ning Yuzhen looked cold. She didn't have the slightest pity in her heart. Why didn't she kill these men outright? It's very simple. She just wanted to break the spirit of these men. Let them despair. Fear. Let them experience this feeling of life not being controlled by themselves. Now her goal has been achieved. Buzz. Tang Dao flashed with dazzling white light under the light of the sun, and the eyes of more than a dozen men were stunned. She was blinded, the sword flashed, and more than a dozen good heads flew into the air, and the blood column was sprayed several meters high. Withdrawing, Ning Yuzhen rushed towards another wave of people with the Tang sword. Wang Ziwen on the high building struck with the sword. After swiping it, the last man running for his life in the building died under the knife. After shaking off the blood on the knife, Wang Ziwen jumped down from the 20 to 30 meter tall building. For Wang Ziwen's current strength, the height of 30 meters is nothing. She can even glide short distances now. According to Li Fengjiao's first generation, they doubt that they will be able to truly break away from gravity and cross the void in the next realm. But it shouldn't be able to last for too long, and it will definitely consume the energy in the body. How fast can 40 female warriors kill people? No one knows this, but an ambush team of more than 1,000 people killed them in less than 20 minutes. There were very few left. Standing on the street, Wang Ziwen looked around. Suddenly, a light flashed in his eyes, and he walked towards a certain place with the tang knife in his hand. Xie Yuanhao was scared to death. Wang Ziwen he flew directly to the second floor where Wu's Haihao was, and then there was a roar. It was not a gunshot, but a violent roar, as if the house was about to collapse. Then he saw Wang Ziwen flying down from the second floor. Damn! You really can fly? He has no idea now. He also understands why these women dare to confront the corpses head-on with dozens of cold weapons. It turns out they are so terrifying. And that sting, the clanking sound, lying down, the knife splitting the bullet. You are really humiliating yourself if you don't make a movie. Seeing more and more brothers dying around him, Xie Yuanhao couldn't help it. He knew he wouldn't do something. What? He is going to die here too. He has already checked out the area around here. There is no sewer for him to drill. Now he can only use one trick. That is to pretend to be dead. There is no way, he can't escape at all. The only outcome of running around is to be caught up by those devil-like women, like the funny ones around him, and then kill him. Now the only way to survive is to pretend to be dead. Thinking of this, he decisively lay down on the ground, and then crawling forward quietly, he found two corpses, then lifted them up and pressed them on top of them, and then wiped a few handfuls of blood on his face. Not to mention, this method worked really well. Every time a female warrior quickly ran over from nearby, did not find him pretending to be dead, which also made Xie Yuanhao relieved. As long as these devil-like women kill all the men and then leave here, he can leave secretly. He will never see this place again. He doesn't want to come. He wants to go back to the subway station. He doesn't want to see these women anymore. Just when he was thinking about it, a crisp sound of footsteps came, getting closer and closer. Xie Yuanhao he didn't pay much attention at first, but when he felt the footsteps stopping not far from him, Xie Yuanhao became uneasy. Am I going to be discovered? You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Doomsday, I am the only one in the world who has superpowers. Author, Gugu Da. Chapter 276. Chapter 276 I am willing to be the master of the sword in my hand, and I am willing to have my hands covered with blood for my master. Am I going to be discovered? This is the truest thought in Xie Yuanhao's heart now. The sound of footsteps stopping next to him frightened him. He didn't dare to move, he didn't dare to move at all. He didn't know whether the woman next to him had noticed him or was simply just stopped here. He didn't dare to move. He was betting that the women around him wouldn't notice him, so that he could survive. If he moved, he would definitely die. These women ran as if they were flying. Even if he were asked to run 100 meters first, he would be killed in a few seconds. Without any hope of escape, he could only lie on the ground and pretend to be dead. He could only place his hope in the woman beside him. She just stopped here instead of discovering him. Wang Ziwen looked down at Xie Yuanhao, who was pretending to be dead under two corpses. If she hadn't observed carefully enough just now and saw the slight ups and downs here, she might have let this cunning guy run away. He was lying on the ground pretending to be dead. If it weren't for the ups and downs of his breathing, she would have missed it. Wang Ziwen was not in a hurry, and looked down at the man pretending to be dead at her feet. For 3 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes. As one figure after another came over, Wang Ziwen knew that the men around her had almost been cleaned up. Sure enough, Ning Yuzhen came over with the woman who had asked for help, and then kicked her to the ground. Seeing the horrifying scene in front of her and smelling the pungent smell of blood, the woman turned pale and kept retching. If you spit it out, give me a little bit of it to eat back. Ziwen has no mercy in her heart. If they weren't so powerful, they might be reduced to playthings. Don't say that this woman can't help herself. Since everyone is their own master, as a winner, no matter what they do, it's not too much, right? Hearing Wang Ziwen's cold voice, the woman was frightened and quickly stopped retching. Do you know where these people are based? Don't tell me that you were caught by these people on the road. If you have no value, I don't mind giving you a ride. The woman felt unspeakable horror in her heart. She realized that these women in front of her were demons crawling out of hell. They killed people without blinking an eye. They were more terrifying than people like Wu's Haihao, and they were probably not human at all. Can humans fly? Human speed, is it that fast? Can a person block a bullet with a knife? This kind of scene can only be seen in movies. Facing women like Wang Ziwen who are like demons, she doesn't dare to resist or even hide the slightest bit. She doesn't want to die, she will die if she doesn't show any value. No. No. I know where they are. I was brought here directly by them. They are in the subway station. I can take you there. Don't kill me. I don't want to die. I was also forced, and I had no choice but to do it. If I didn't do it, they would kill me, and then someone else would do it. I was really forced. Hearing the woman's pleading, Wang Ziwen's eyes did not change. Now that he knew the stronghold of this group of people, there was no need for the man at his feet to live. He raised his hand and stabbed the tip of Tang Dao without hesitation. Poof! The Tang knife passed through a corpse and Xia Yuanhao's body like a skewer of candied haws. The severe pain made Xia Yuanhao couldn't help but raise his head. His closed eyes opened wide, and the veins on his neck and forehead were exposed. Blood quickly overflowed from the corners of the eyes. Xia Yuanhao was desperate. He did not expect that the other party still discovered him. He even suspected that the other party had discovered him long ago and was just waiting. These women need a leader, this women know the way, so there is no need for him to live. With a twist of his wrist, the blade crushed Xia Yuanhao's heart. Wang Ziwen pulled out the Tang knife with a normal expression and looked at the woman kneeling next to her with her eyes wide open in fear. Said, "Congratulations, you survived, please lead the way." The woman was so frightened that she almost flew out of her mind. Just now, a living person was killed right in front of her eyes. He was less than half a meter away from her, and the blood even flew onto her face. After trembling, she woke up and looked at the surrounding Wang Ziwen and others. In the eyes of women, the image of Wang Ziwen and others was that they had gleaming eyes, long horns on their heads, and an image that looked like devil wings. The woman said she shivered and stood up. The intense fear made her knees weak and she couldn't exert any strength at all. "Yuzhen, take her with you. Let's go to the subway station immediately and ask this woman to show us the way." Ning Yuzhen nodded when she heard this, picked up the woman with one hand, and asked which subway station. "East, which subway station is Dongfeng Middle Road? Walk 2 kilometers back along the main road you came from, then turn left." Hearing the woman's words, Wang Ziwen and others turned around and quickly disappeared on the branch road. The female soldiers did not take Xia Yuanhao's death seriously. When they came over, they knew that there was a living person here, so close. They couldn't even feel the ghost at such a distance. A group of people moved forward quickly and soon arrived at the subway station on Dongfeng Middle Road. They looked at the fence blocking the entrance of the subway station. Wang Ziwen waved her hand and the fence was split. "Open the door," and the group of people went straight to the subway station without any obstruction. On the underground floor, Wang Ziwen saw people walking in the subway station. Soon, these people also discovered Wang Ziwen and others. Looking at these people, Wang Ziwen suddenly he waved his hand and said with cold eyes, "Kill. If no man is spared, we are the sharp swords in the hands of the Lord. If killing someone is sinful, we will bear the sin on the Lord's behalf." With an order, the 40 female warriors rushed out like arrows. The men who had been a little confused before suddenly showed a look of horror. Blood splattered, and corpses were everywhere where the female warriors passed. It was the body of a man. Wang Ziwen led the women beside her forward step by step. Occasionally, men who fled here in panic were killed mercilessly by Wang Ziwen. Walking in the subway station, there were screams and begging for mercy everywhere. There were screams. There was no sadness or joy on Wang Ziwen's face, and her eyes were full of indifference. For her, there is no difference between men and pigs, dogs, and zombies. The only difference may be that men are not as good as zombies. At least she can kill zombies. She can also improve her strength, but killing these men will not improve her at all. No. Do not kill me. I don't want to die yet. Ah. Spare your life, spare your life, spare me, I haven't done anything. Ah. You devils, you're going to hell. Ah. There were curses and screams, and the whole subway station was filled with mountains of corpses and seas of blood. The blood of men was spread all over the ground, and even gathered into streams. Wang Ziwen glanced around and saw women huddled on the ground holding their heads. They didn't dare to move at all, for fear of causing some misunderstanding and being accidentally killed. These women have all seen that the female warriors have a pattern of killing people everywhere. They only kill men, not women. As long as they don't cause trouble, they will definitely not death, they think. No matter how ruthless these women are, they won't attack women, right? As long as they don't kill them, they can do whatever they want. Anyway, they have experienced the most cruel things in the apocalypse, right? What else is crueler than being toyed with by all kinds of men? Some of them even felt that in less than 2 months, the men they had dealt with were about to catch up with some of the Neon Empire Enlightenment teacher, right? Although it seems exaggerated to say this, it is enough to show the despair and numbness of these women. It is not that they have never resisted, but those who resisted were killed alive, and their last breath was fed to the zombies. This cruel scene shocked them greatly, and then they succumbed and became numb. As the screams became less and less, Wang Ziwen looked at the time and found that more than half an hour had passed since she came underground. It seems that there are a lot of men left here, but I don't know how many women there are, but at a glance, there are squatting women everywhere. It should be a bumper harvest this time. Not long after, Ningyuzhen ran over and wiped with blood dripping from her face. Ningyuzhen said excitedly, "Captain, we have caught a big fish this time. Counting the men we killed before, there are more than 9,000 people in this underground force, and there are more than 3,000 men in it. The remaining 5,000 or so are all women." Although she had expected that the harvest this time would be huge, Wang Ziwen was still shocked when she heard the approximate data reported by Ningyuzhen. More than 5,000 women. With a force of nearly 10,000 people, this can hardly catch up with the City of Judgment before Lu Weining and those female soldiers came. She also asked why she didn't see any survivors nearby. It turned out that they were all captured and brought here. A faint smile appeared on her face. She was very satisfied with this harvest. If she goes back this time, she and the team members will get a lot of rewards based on merit, right? Not only Wang Ziwen was thinking this, but also Ningyuzhen and many female team members. They were all very excited. After a while, a female warrior came over with all the women. Wang Ziwen didn't feel anything when she was squatting in various places before, but now more than 5,000 people have been driven over, which makes it even more spectacular. Everywhere he looked, there were women. It's so densely packed that you can't see the end at a glance. While Wang Ziwen was looking at the women in a daze, a petite and lovely female warrior came up to Wang Ziwen and said softly, "Report to the captain, the head count is complete. Counting the woman standing next to you, the total number is 5,791. People." My heart vibrated. 5,791 women. Now the population of Judgment City can expand on a large scale again, and it will soon approach 40,000, right? I heard that Lee Psyche alone brought back more than 2,000 women yesterday. They also complained, saying that Lin Fan's breakthrough had evaporated all the zombies within a 10-kilometer radius, leaving them with no place to kill the zombies. For this reason, Lin Fan specially compensated the women with 5 source power pills each. This is equivalent to killing 600 zombies. However, after careful calculation, it is indeed similar. Killing zombies can improve your strength and gain military merit. Together, these two are almost worth 5 source power pills. Yesterday, it was said that there were 4 to 5,000 people added. Today, she brought back nearly 6,000 people. Counting others, the population of Judgment City has exploded. The more prosperous the city of Judgment is, the happier Lin Fan will be, and similarly, the happier Wang Ziwen will be. But looking at so many women in front of me, it's a good thing to have more women, but how to bring them back? There are 41 of them in total, escorting nearly 6,000 people back, even if they are dreaming. After thinking for a moment, Wang Ziwen raised her hand and silently pressed her fingers on the watch. Since the matter can't be solved, call someone. Doomsday, I am the only one in the world who has superpowers. Author, Gugu Da. Chapter 277. Chapter 277, Summer, Sunshine, Swimming Pool, This is Life. Villa number 1 in the world's high-end villa area. The maids were cleaning the villa, and Lin Fan ran to the outdoor swimming pool. He was wearing sunglasses, shirtless, and big pants, lying on a chair with a sun umbrella next to him. Several beautiful maids in bikinis stood there. Next to him, there were fruits and various iced drinks in his hands. After drinking a sip of ice coke, eating a sip of fruit, enjoying the beautiful sunbathing, touching the pussy here and squeezing the pussy there, Lin Fan felt very good. This is what life is called. The water that had been in the swimming pool for nearly 2 months and had deteriorated has been drained out and replaced with fresh and clean water. It was sparkling. Several maids were playing in the water, making splashes. Normally, these maids would not dare to be so presumptuous, but Lin Fan wanted to see, what should they do in the swimming pool when there are no girls playing in the water. Waving his hand, he signaled Xiao Mingxiu to put the cold drink away. Lin Fan smacked his tongue and straightened the big umbrella on his body. Although the bikini was good, it made him angry after watching too much in the summer, so he went to swim in the water. 2 laps is better. Mingxiu, go swimming with me. I don't know how to swim. Please teach me. Xiao Mingxiu put down the cold drink. A few dazes and panic flashed across Fenzi's face. His whole body felt bad. Teaching swimming? She can't. But what should she do if Lin Fan demands it? What a great opportunity. Just because she can't swim, she will miss out? This hurts too much. She was so conflicted in her heart that she would definitely not dare to lie to Lin Fan. Now the whole thing would be revealed. Wouldn't it be over by then? After taking 2 steps, he found that there was no sound behind him. Lin Fan turned his head in confusion and looked at Xiao Mingxiu's face turning from pink to white. Lin Fan asked, "Why don't you leave?" "Host, Lord, I can't swim, so I can't teach you." Xiao Mingxiu gritted her teeth and whispered intermittently, not to mention how reluctant she was. Raising his eyebrows, Lin Fan thought to himself, is this it? Is this a problem? It's okay, you don't know how to teach me. Ah, Xiao Mingxiu was dumbfounded and looked at Lin Fan blankly. Don't you know how to do it? But Xiao Mingxiu immediately realized, is such a thing possible? Her brain was kicked by a donkey today. She reacted like this. Weird. Oh. Lord, I'm here. You must teach me well. My subordinate is stupid, his hands and feet are not flexible, and he is afraid of being drowned. You must hold me tight. Xiao Mingxiu trotted to Lin Fan's side, almost jumping with excitement. Hey, Lin Fan smiled inwardly, this girl is quite good. Don't worry, I will definitely not let you go. It doesn't matter if you are stupid, just study hard. Let's. Before Lin Fan finished speaking, a message popped up on the watch on his arm. Looking at the incoming call on his watch, Lin Fan's face instantly drooped. After casually picking up the phone, Lin Fan said with a lack of interest, Zaiwen, what can I do for you? Or are you encountering some difficulties over there? In the subway station, listening to Lin Fan's voice coming from his watch, the prince Wen applied for a shock and even stood up a little straighter. The dozens of female warriors next to her looked at Wang Zaiwen with envy. They also have watches on their arms, but they have no authority to contact Lin Fan at all. Unlike Wang Zaiwen, who lives with Lin Fan, although she is not a high-level official, her watch authority has been opened. Sir, can you come to Dongfeng Middle Road subway station? I've encountered some trouble here. There are some survivors here that I can't bring back. There are a lot of them. Escorting them back may cause a lot of casualties. Beside the swimming pool, listening to the sound coming from the watch, Lin Fan was a little depressed. He was just about to play in the water with the maids, but was interrupted. However, Wang Zaiwen's side is a trivial matter and can be solved in a minute. Come back again. Wang Zaiwen is not Zhao Wangqing and the others. She does not have special powers. If she wants to escort hundreds of thousands of survivors back safe and sound, it is no longer a question of difficulty, but simply impossible. A mere 41 people, there will inevitably be places that cannot be protected. In this case, he still has to go there. Okay, just stand still and I'll be there right away. After finishing the call with Wang Zaiwen, Lin Fan looked at the disappointed Xiao Mingxiu next to him. Lin Fan slapped her on the breast with his backhand. Xiao Mingxiu screamed and jumped 2 steps away with a face. Just wait for me. I'll be back in 5 minutes. After saying that, ignoring Xiao Mingxiu who was dizzy and happy with the food, Lin Fan walked through the space passage and came to Wang Zaiwen in his big pants. After coming out of the space passage, Lin Fan glanced subconsciously, then I was shocked. As far as I could see, the subway station was densely packed with figures of women. There were hundreds and thousands of them. There must be thousands of them. Lin Fan was shocked. Prince, what kind of luck is Wen? She actually stole such a big force. Judging from these women, the population of this force is at least 15,000 or more. In a normal force, there are usually more men than women. Lin Fan never expected that Wu's Haihao he is a ruthless lunatic who feeds zombies without being obedient. Lin Fan was shocked by so many women, and the women in the subway station were also confused by Lin Fan's appearance. His bare upper body had well-proportioned muscles, and he looked like an ape with arms and a bear's waist. Full of explosive power, especially the big pants and the height of the umbrella, it is obviously a lot beyond the standard. However, these women are almost numb to men, but they were still shocked when they saw Lin Fan's size, but Wang Zaiwen and the female warriors were different. Her eyes were like magnets and couldn't be moved away from Lin Fan. Lin Fan was even awakened by the sound of swallowing, and then he saw the female warriors acting like wolves and tigers. His eyes felt a little cold for a moment. Should I cover it? Lin Fan had this idea in his head, but in the end he did not act on it. Just watch it? Are grown men still afraid of watching it? Everyone on Wang Zaiwen's side, she was dumbfounded. This was the first time she saw Lin Fan's figure and big umbrella. Her eyes were dull and she had only one thought in her mind. So big. Looking at the thousands of women in front of her, Lin Fan closed his eyes. He looked shocked and asked, how many people are here? You guys are so lucky, right? Wang Zaiwen came to her senses and quickly recounted what had happened before. After finishing speaking, she pointed at the women and said, "My lord, there are 5,791 people here in total." 5,791 people? Lin Fan was surprised. This number was really too many, close to 6,000 people. As for the people Wang Ziwen said about ambushing them, Lin Fan had no interest in them. A bunch of chickens and dogs, not worth it mention it. It was Wang Ziwen's strength that made Lin Fan take a second look. Character, Wang Ziwen. Strength, 42. Agility, 41. Intelligence, 22. Physique, 44. Realm, Ninggang Realm. Unconsciously, Wang Ziwen broke through and defeated Ning Gangjing. I vaguely remember the first time I met this woman. She was an unlucky child who was beaten by a gun. You did a great job today, and you are all rewarded. Wang Ziwen commanded the meritorious officers to be promoted to level 4 squadron leader, and you will be rewarded with a bottle of source power crystal. I can also make an exception and reward you with a small condition. Ning Yuzhen's outstanding performance. If you are promoted to level 3 team leader, you will be rewarded with a bottle of source power crystal. The other team members also perform well and each will be rewarded with 5 bottles of source power pill as encouragement. The population of Judgment City suddenly increased by nearly 6,000. Lin Fan was very happy. Judgment City is now short of people. Very short of people. Your achievements will be announced to the City of Judgment later, so that everyone can know your efforts. Hearing Lin Fan's reward, all the female warriors, including Wang Ziwen, were overjoyed and excited. The worst they could get was 5 source power pills. After eating, their strength will definitely improve by leaps and bounds. Even if it's almost the breakthrough of less than 30 points. As for Wang Ziwen and Ning Yuzhen, they were even more surprised. A bottle of source power crystal. Ning Yuzhen didn't know how long she would have to save to redeem one bottle, and the team leader the position is also rare. The City of Judgment now has nearly 20,000 combatable soldiers, but the number of squad captains is only over 100. The power of squad captains is very great in the current City of Judgment. It's just that the one with the best reward was Wang Ziwen, who received a promotion, a bottle of source power crystal, and most importantly, a small request promised by Lin Fan. Thank you Lord for the reward. Wang Ziwen took the lead and half knelt on the ground to salute. 41 cheers came together, clear and loud. With a wave of his hand, Wang Ziwen and others were lifted up. After you go back, you can go to the military merit office to receive these rewards such as the source power pill, as well as your respective badges. As for Wang Ziwen, do you have any requirements? You can mention it, as long as it's not too much, I'll be satisfied. If you haven't thought about it well, you can wait and I can write it down for you. Wang Ziwen stood up. She didn't know where to put her eyes. Looking at Lin Fan's eyes, she panicked. She lowered her head. The umbrella was too big. Her heartbeat accelerated. Looking around, Wang Ziwen felt sure in her heart. I have an idea. When she killed zombies today, she restrained herself for fear that the blood of zombies would be stained on her body. The white combat uniform looks good, but it gets dirty too easily. My lord, can you think of a way to add some small functions to the combat uniform, such as automatic dust removal, waterproofing and bloodproofing? When I was killing zombies today, I kept avoiding their blood, which was very distressing. Hearing Wang Ziwen's words, Lin Fan turned to look at the group of female warriors next to him. Compared with Wang Ziwen, there was indeed a lot of blood splattered on his body, which greatly affected the impression. Well, after I went back, I thought about it. If there was nothing else, I would take these women back first. Looking at the women behind the female warriors, Lin Fan waved his hand and the space door opened. Pointing at the space door, Lin Fan said, everyone, go in. There is a new student at the other end of the passage. The women have become numb. Facing Lin Fan's instructions, no one refused. After all, apart from death, they don't think there is any worse environment than what they have experienced. Watching the women walk obediently, Lin Fan was very satisfied after entering the space door. It was not until the last woman entered that Lin Fan closed the space door. "You guys keep working hard, I'll get back first." After giving instructions to the female warriors, Lin Fan turned around, opened the space door, and dove in. There was a delicious girl waiting for him on the other side of the swimming pool. The 5 minutes promised, more than 10 minutes have passed. "Look." As Lin Fan left, Wang Ziwen and others half knelt on the ground. "Congratulations, Your Majesty. Doomsday, I am the only one in the world who has superpowers." Author, Gugu Da. Chapter 278. Chapter 278, Playing in the Swimming Pool and Equipping the Enchanting Device. After solving Wang Ziwen's problem, Lin Fan returned to the villa wearing big underpants. Beside the swimming pool, Xiao Mingxiu was still waiting eagerly. Lin Fan wanted to laugh at his eager look. Xiao Mingxiu was indeed waiting impatiently. Lin Fan promised to wait for 5 minutes, but it took more than 3 and 5 minutes. She didn't know what to do. She knew that Lin Fan had a lot of things to do as the Lord of Judgment City. If he encountered any trouble, he might come back in the evening, but she was unwilling to do so and did not dare to leave the swimming pool and return to the villa. She is just a little maid, let alone 5 minutes, she has to wait for 5 hours. Otherwise, as a maid, she can't even make the Lord happy, so what's the use of her? Even if she had to wait 5 hours, when Lin Fan came back and gave her a satisfied smile, she would be satisfied. She didn't seek satisfaction, but hoped that she had done nothing wrong. Now seeing Lin Fan back, Xiao Mingxiu couldn't be more excited. His delicate earlobes were all red, like transparent red gems in the sunlight. Under Xiao Mingxiu's excited eyes, Lin Fan came to him with a few strides, picked her up from the waist, and screamed. Lin Fan jumped directly into the swimming pool, and the splashing water made several other maids in the swimming pool. I couldn't even open my eyes, and I was swept away several meters by the water waves. Woohoo, ha ha ha. In the huge swimming pool, Lin Fan's laughter was everywhere. Under the transparent water, Lin Fan's hands kept going back and forth on Xiao Mingxiu and the others, making them laugh. Happy time always passes quickly. It's going to be dark before you know it. Lord, wake up, we should go back. Opening his eyes, Lin Fan glanced at the already setting sun, yawned, rubbed his head against Xiao Mingxiu's 2 big pigs, and then reluctantly got up from the recliner. In the afternoon, he played I was very happy. When I was tired, Lin Fan lay on Xiao Mingxiu, enjoying the sunshine and fell asleep. The meat cushion was very comfortable and the pillow was great, especially for playing underwater. It was a pity that Xiao Mingxiu's vital capacity was too low. It won't take long for him to surface for air, which also extends the playing time to 2 hours. In general, Xiao Mingxiu's swimming skills are indeed poor, and he is a slow learner. He will probably have to work hard in the future. Study hard for a while. He pulled up Xiao Mingxiu, who was a little numb after lying down for a long time, and looked at her beautiful face where the dizziness had not subsided. Lin Fan took out a bottle of source power pill from the space and handed it to her. Have you taken this source power pill? Your physique is too poor. This is today's reward. Xiao Mingxiu's family knew about her family affairs. She was just an ordinary woman. She was used as a pillow by Lin Fan for half an afternoon. She was almost exhausted. She didn't dare to move even if she felt uncomfortable, for fear of disturbing Lin Fan's sleep. Although it was comfortable at first, but later it became a torment. Taking the porcelain bottle handed over by Lin Fan, Xiao Mingxiu lowered his head with a smile on his face and said softly, "Didn't the Lord reward me this morning and this afternoon?" Lin Fan's heart skipped a beat, remembering the play in the swimming pool. He pinched her cheek, and said dissatisfied, "Stop playing Hearse Drift for me. With your skills, it took 2 whole hours. If it wasn't for playing in the swimming pool, I would still be there for the first time. I will definitely let you stay where you are to cool off. You can practice hard for me, and I won't take you to play if you are still so good. Holding the porcelain bottle tightly in his hand, Xiao Mingxiu raised his head and wanted to say something, but when he saw Lin Fan's eyes, he quickly lowered his head again. The morale he dared to muster was instantly gone. Lord, I don't even have a goal. How can I practice by myself? You can't be so difficult. Methods are devised by people. If there is no goal, wouldn't you be able to find it? You don't know until I put the goal in front of you. Xiao Mingxiu understood instantly. He looked at Lin Fan and said coquettishly, then please don't be angry, my lord. Just don't be blind to see it. Turning around and walking into the villa, Lin Fan's voice came from afar. Come and give me a bath. Xiao Mingxiu's eyes lit up. Isn't the target coming now? Here you go, my lord, my subordinates will be here soon. After walking out of the bathroom, Lin Fan stretched his muscles and felt refreshed. Two maids beside him came up with clothes. The two maids were half-dressed and cleaned up a little. Xiao Mingxiu, who had already changed into maid clothes, also walked out. Compared with before, Xiao Mingxiu looked a little swollen. Lord, do you need subordinates? Waving his hand, Lin Fan said go downstairs to the living room and wait. Lin Fan walked downstairs, dressed neatly. In the living room, Lin Yuyu and the others had rushed back one after another. They pulled Lin Yuyu over. Lin Fan sat down on the sofa and told her some things that he had thought about during his break this afternoon. In fact, it's not a big deal, it's just the problem of combat uniforms that Wang Ziwen mentioned. The white combat uniforms are indeed good-looking and pleasing to the eye, but what the female warriors do is not a clean job. The blood splashed from killing zombies can easily be stained. The combat uniform was stained, so he communicated with the system. After hearing Lin Fan talk about the problem with the combat uniform, Lin Yuyu rubbed her head. She also discovered this problem, but there was no good solution. The female warriors washed themselves. It was summer anyway, so they dried them overnight. Lord, do you have any good ideas? Continue to change it back to the Lord calls like Brother Fan are too awkward. I write my own. You can say whatever you like if you feel dissatisfied, just change it and find something you are satisfied with. There are so many Filu novels, and there is no shortage of my book readers who should leave can't keep it. Lin Yuyu has no choice herself, and she has no system. It's okay to let her handle internal affairs. She can't handle such a difficult matter. The most that can be done is to give the female warriors 2 sets and change them every day. Otherwise, the female warriors can hide some zombie blood by themselves, but this is obviously impossible. If all female warriors kill zombies and are careful to avoid dirty blood, then stop killing zombies and forget about dancing on the street every day. Lin Fan naturally has a way. He has already asked the system in the afternoon. He feels particularly confident now, and this new thing is very interesting. System, exchange me for the equipment enchantment device. Ding. After deducting 500,000 points, the equipment enchantment device has been redeemed and has been sent to your personal space. Please check it. 500,000 points were gone in an instant. Although this equipment enchanting device is expensive, it is expensive for a reason. This thing can enchant the equipment and add additional effects, such as fireproof, waterproof, dustproof and dirtproof. What else can increase defense? This series of functions is limited to clothing, not including weapons. The weapon enchantment device is more expensive, but Lin Fan feels that there is no need to buy that thing. The Tang Dao with a unified system is already very powerful, and there is no need to enhance it again. With a wave of his hand, a black instrument that was half a person tall and 2 meters long appeared in the living room. Lin Fan handed the instruction manual to Lin Yuyu. This thing is called the equipment enchantment instrument. Put your clothes in it, and when you take it out, it will have the most basic fire protection, waterproof and dustproof functions, which means that the dirty blood of zombies is no longer a problem. Waterproof and dustproof are the most basic functions. Furthermore, the defense will be increased according to the level. At the same time, the clothes will be given a buff that automatically recovers from wear and tear. These additional abilities, in terms of defense, the higher the level, the better the defense. The stronger the force, the more energy is consumed at the same time. There are 7 levels in total from low to high. It is probably difficult to be hurt by a sword. Those in the back can ignore the explosive destructive power of some missiles with just their clothes. However, I feel that this kind of defense is of no use to you. With your strength, not afraid of missiles. Looking at the black instrument in front of her with strange eyes, Lin Yuyo's face was full of curiosity. Adding additional special effects to the clothes? This sounds a bit interesting, just like playing an online game, but it can solve the current troubles. Anything else? She didn't care much. Seeing that Lin Yuyo focused on the equipment enchantment instrument, Lin Fan smiled mysteriously. Besides this, there is one more thing I want to give you. Not just Yuyo, all of you have a share. Just at this time, the door of the villa opened, and Zhao Wanqing walked in. After hearing Lin Fan's words, she walked a few steps and looked at Lin Fan curiously. My lord, what do we all have a share of? Lin Fan raised his arms and raised his clenched fist in front of Lin Yuyo. Under the curious gazes of the girls, he asked Yuyo, what do you think is inside this? The question mark on Lin Yuyo's head, what could be hidden in his hand? And looking at Lin Fan clenching his fist like this, the thing in his hand is definitely not that big. His heart skipped a beat, and surprise flashed in Lin Yuyo's eyes. However, she didn't dare to speak, with a hesitant look on her face. She didn't dare to say the answer she thought of. If she said it was not the answer, it would be too embarrassing for Lin Fan. She would be a little disappointed, but she was quite disappointed. More than this, he was more worried that Lin Fan would be embarrassed. This, I guess not. Lin Yuyo thought about it for a while, then put away the thought in her mind. The smartest answer at this time was not to know, and let Lin Fan reveal it himself. But Lin Yuyo had a very smart idea. Halfway through her words, Lin Fan blocked her with his finger. Speak up boldly. If you don't try, how will you know you are wrong? Having been with Lin Yuyo for so long, Lin Fan can count all the hairs on her body. Seeing the surprise flashing in Lin Yuyo's eyes, he probably knew what Lin Yuyo was thinking. In fact, he also has this meaning, there is no law stipulating how many wives one can have, so he can give wedding rings to as many women as he wants. Lin Yuyo's eyes were flashing with excitement, her eyes were so red that she was filled with tears. Yes, yes, is it a ring? Lin Yuyo asked this sentence with difficulty, her whole heart was in her throat. Every woman's obsession with rings is beyond imagination. Lin Fan had never mentioned it before, especially the wedding ring, and she had never thought about it. After all, she kept calling her lord, and she didn't dare to hope for it. Now that Lin Fan suddenly made a move, she couldn't help it anymore. Holding Lin Yuyo's chin and kissing her cheek, Lin Fan smiled and said, "You're so smart. Seeing as you got the answer right, you'll definitely be rewarded tonight." Lin Yuyo cried with joy, but when she heard Lin Yuyo after Fan said this, he still couldn't help but give Lin Fan a rollicking look. No matter how hard he was, his life would be gone. Under the anxious and expectant gazes of the girls, Lin Fan spread his fingers, and in his palm lay a diamond ring that exuded a faint light. Pulling up Lin Yuyo's slender, white, and tender little hand, Lin Fan put the ring on Lin Yuyo himself, then took it to the side and kissed it. This ring is my answer to you. In addition to the symbol of a wedding ring, it is also a space ring with a space of 333 inside. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Doomsday, I am the only one in the world who has superpowers. Author, Gugu Da. Chapter 279. Chapter 279. If I don't deal with you well today, I'll write the character Lin upside down. Lin Fan had failed many times with this space ring. He played in the swimming pool for a while today, and after landing, he hugged Xiao Mingxiu's pillow and planned to sleep for a while, but a sudden thought occurred. Will there be any extra gains from making a space ring in sage time? After all, a man's sage time is very magical. It can make a man highly concentrated and work twice the result with half the effort. Lin Fan wanted to try it. Then, after damaging 2 rings, I just let nature take its course and made it naturally. At the beginning, it was only 222 in size. Lin Fan worked hard for a long time and finally managed to get it into 333. However, he was satisfied. The space of 333 was already quite big and could be installed. A lot of things. Covering her eyes and looking at the diamond ring on her ring finger, Lin Yuyu was so excited that she couldn't speak. What she cared about was not the diamond ring, but Lin Fan's feelings. Even if it wasn't a diamond ring, it was just a platinum ring or a silver ring. It is made of straw, and as long as it is given to her by Lin Fan, she will regard it as a treasure. Seeing Lin Yuyu's excited look, Lin Fan held her in his arms and comforted her carefully. To be honest, he didn't expect it to be just a ring. Lin Yuyu was so excited that she couldn't even speak. During this period of time, the hardest person in Judgment City is Lin Yuyu. Without Lin Yuyu, Judgment City would not have the scale and order it has now. Women are actually very strange. One moment they are as quiet as a kitten, and the next second they are as wild as a female leopard or lion. Lin Yuyu was grabbed by the collar inexplicably. Before Lin Fan understood what Lin Yuyu wanted to do, he saw Lin Yuyu getting angry with him. After spending so long with Lin Yuyu has always been passive and simply he has never been so wild before, and this is the first time he has been counterattacked head-on. Lin Fan was never afraid of being hugged and scolded. In the end, Lin Yuyu was short of breath and took the initiative to separate. Lord, I really love you so much and I am willing to do anything for you. I used to feel very tired before, but now I feel full of energy. I think I can work all night long without stopping today. Lin Fan. Seeing Lin Yuyu's current excited state, Lin Fan thought, is this too much energy? The effect of this medicine is too strong. What a virtuous and kind lady, how come you are now like a fierce horse that has not been tamed? Seeing that Lin Yuyu was about to get up, Lin Fan quickly held her down. Good guy, I want to continue working even if I don't even eat. I really have you. Just wait and see how I deal with you tonight. Pushed down by Lin Fan on the sofa, Lin Yuyu looked at Lin Fan with her neck stiffened. Let's see how I deal with you tonight. Lin Fan. I will let you come down tomorrow and I will take your last name. Turning to look at Zhao Wanqing, Zhao Yanyan, and others, Lin Fan took out the second ring and put it on Zhao Wanqing under their expectant eyes. As the women grabbed each other by their collars and kissed them, Lin Fan felt that this dress would be scrapped tonight. But the funny thing was that Suzialuo was too short to be strong at all. He kept jumping around and almost Lin Fan laughed so hard. Suzialuo hugged Suzialuo, whose feet couldn't touch the ground, and kissed her fiercely. Finally, Lin Fan hugged her and sat on the sofa. Looking at the girls around him, Lin Fan said, you need to imprint your own spirit on this ring, that is, the so-called recognition of the master is very convenient when you want to control it with mental power. Lin Yuyu heard this and tried to do it. Sure enough, she found that there was a 333 space inside the ring. She looked at the one next to her. The equipment enchanting instrument suddenly disappeared with a thought. When Lin Yuyu looked at it again, it had been placed in the space ring. The girls all tried it, and then saw a few things in the living room disappear from time to time and then reappear. They had a great time, making Yerulan, Wang Ziwen and others envious. They also want the diamond ring. Not only do they want this, they also want to crawl into the master bedroom. After the enthusiasm of the women subsided a little, dinner was already prepared. After dinner, Lin Fan checked all the women Lin Yuyu picked out from the female warriors, and felt very relieved. The female warriors really reassured her. In terms of faith value, they were all at full value, which was countless times better than that of the maids. In this case, Lin Fan felt even more at ease when teaching his powers. There are a total of 200 women selected by Lin Yuyu. In terms of appearance, figure, and completeness, Lin Fan is very relieved. The base is large, and it is the first time for women. Naturally, the number will also increase, especially in places where there are no men such as girls' schools. Most of them are the first time, and they are all beautiful. Unlike women like Wu Jingjing and Wang Dan, these female warriors need to go out to fight, and it is not advisable to encourage others. Lin Fan did not do this kind of thing, but spent 1000 points to teach the superpower directly. Level 1, this kind can advance and grow. Starting today, these women will also be excluded from the ranks of female warriors and belong to the Wood Temple. There will definitely be Earth Temple, Water Temple, etc. in the future. These women, including women like Wu Jingjing, have the status of divine envoys. To put it simply, they are the harem. Reserve team, God's envoys rely on God, this is normal, right? If Lin Fan has nothing to do one day, he can go shopping and try some new dishes. After the superpower was taught, the 200,000 points were gone again, but now 200,000 points are really just a drop in the bucket for Lin Fan. System, open personal properties. Character, Lin Fan. Strength, 492. Agility, 490. Intelligence, 550. Physique, 575. Points, 191,9511. Ability, Magnetic Field Control LV9, 127,1031/1000 W, Lightning Control LV8, 39,2009/100 W, Wood Element Control LV8, 10/100 W, Earth Element Control LV8, 16592/100 W, Demon Cat LV7, 90090/10 W, Space Power LV7, 79101/100 W, Water Element Control LV7, 10121/10 W, Gold Element Control LV7, 10091/10 W, Time Control LV6, 9210/10 W, Soul Power LV1, 50/100, Mind Reading. In one day, the Wood Elemental Power was promoted to LV8, and the Water Elemental and Gold Elemental powers were finally promoted to LV7. The strength has skyrocketed, and there is no need to worry about points. The equipment enchanting device just cost 500,000 points, and the ability just cost another 200,000 points. But compared with the previous 1680,000 points, it has not dropped but increased. The early investment has paid off. The nearly 20,000 female warriors who were completely released were terrifyingly lethal. In just one day, their points increased by nearly 800,000. With the addition of Zhao Wanqing and Lin Yuyu who are big players in points, today in one day, you can earn more than 900,000 points. Moreover, in the process of killing zombies in the past 2 days, each team has brought back a lot of women. When they are selected and distributed tomorrow, the points will probably exceed 1 million. It is estimated that the remaining zombies on the second city wall will be completely cleared away in less than 3 days. At that time, Lin Fan couldn't even imagine what kind of figure his points would skyrocket to. There were so many points that Lin Fan didn't know what to do with them now. After dismissing the 200 excited women, Lin Fan took Lin Yuyu back to the living room. Originally, Lin Fan thought that there would be no entertainment activities at this late night, so he might as well rest early. After all, some people dared to provoke, so he should not fight. Doesn't it make him look incompetent? The reason why he didn't go back to the master bedroom directly was because Zhao Wanqing had a statistical report to report, and such an important matter was still worthy of him stopping. Zhao Wanqing's intelligence department is developing very smoothly. It has done a good job in statistics of the city's population and other aspects, which has relieved some of the pressure on Lin Yuyu. When the internal department grows, Lin Yuyu will be able to relax completely. With Lin Yuyu in his arms, Lin Fan had no other purpose than simply not to run away tonight. Lin Yuyu had no intention of running away, but looked full of fighting spirit. Looking at Lin Fan and Lin Yuyu, who were crazily stuffing themselves with dog food, Zhao Wanqing rolled her eyes, picked up the document and reported according to the latest statistics, the current total population of Judgment City is 43,913, an increase of 12,951 from yesterday. Among them are female warriors. The total number of people is 25,113, and the rest are maids or other high-level personnel. The population jumped to nearly 4.4 million people. Lin Fan was stunned when he heard that he brought back 12,951 women today. But then I thought about it, Wang Ziwen brought back nearly half of it herself, and the rest was evenly distributed among Zhao Wanqing and the others, which was about it. The biggest leader is still Wang Ziwen. Lin Fan estimates that once the second city wall is completely cleared, the population of Judgment City will exceed 100,000. 1,600 square kilometers. There are only 100,000 people in such a large place. It is indeed a bit too spacious. For the number of female warriors, it is estimated that Tang Dao will not be enough, right? I see that combat uniforms for many female warriors have not been popularized. The garment factory can add a group of people, and there are more people, but there are not many entertainment facilities. Tomorrow I will find a way to restore the internet and so on, at least let the women have TVs. Look. As the helmsman of the City of Judgment, Lin Fan does not do anything. Although women have a low status, they must be treated as human beings and completely as beasts. There is no entertainment and no men. This group of women, sooner or later, he would go crazy. He spent 600,000 points to exchange for 30,000 units of Tang Dao and 30,000 units of counter. Lin Fan threw them directly into the underground garage. It would take up too much space to throw so many things in the living room. The reason why he redeemed so many is because of the following few items. The sky will gather survivors, and you can redeem the savings every day. Anyway, you have more points now, which is completely worthwhile. The 600,000 points spent can be earned back in half a day tomorrow. The strength of the female warriors is improving. The more they improve, the more they kill. The speed of the zombies will be faster. Not to mention the addition of thousands of new female warriors, it is likely that more than 600,000 points will be earned in half a day. This is the return on the initial investment. Counting the newly added female warriors, it is indeed not enough, and there are also a lot of missing watches. As Lin Yuyu, who is in charge of the internal affairs of Judgment City, she is very clear about supplies. That's okay. It's enough now. We have 30,000 units in the underground garage. At least for a short time, there will be no problem. Shrugging, after saying this, Lin Fan stood up, directly put Lin Yuyu on his shoulders, turned around and walked towards the master bedroom on the third floor. If I don't take care of you today, you won't know how many eyes Lord Hell has. Tomorrow I will make you go to the ground. I write the word Lin backwards. On the sofa, they were caught off guard to see Lin Fan being so wild. Zhao Wanqing and others looked at each other and were all dumbfounded. It wasn't even 9 o'clock yet. Doomsday, I am the only one in the world who has superpowers. Author, Doomsday. Chapter 280. Chapter 280. The spring breeze blows and the war drums beat. Who am I, Lin Fan, afraid of? The spring breeze blows and the war drums beat. Who am I, Lin Fan, afraid of at night? That night, Lin Fan did not let Lin Yu rest. Before the end, there were indeed fields that were not plowed by exhausted cows, but it was different now. Early the next morning, Lin Yu didn't even get up to eat breakfast. Lin Fan pushed her a few times, but she only heard humming, but no one moved. After a closer look, she didn't wake up at all. Seeing this situation, Lin Fan smiled disdainfully. He didn't even consider how much he weighed, and just wanted to fight with him. He was simply looking for death. In this rare moment, Lin Fan took a few bites. Zhao Wanqing and the others went out to kill zombies, while Lin Fan answered the question of the master bedroom and hugged Lin Yu before returning to sleep. Lin Fan is a salty fish. The City of Judgment is like a clockwork machine, running in an orderly manner. Since Lin Yu is ill today and cannot handle housework, Zhao Wanqing is pushed to the shelves, leaving Lin Yu in a mess. After taking care of it, I ran out to kill the zombies. Lin Yu slept until noon. When she woke up, she was all confused and cute, which made Lin Fan laugh. After knowing that it was almost 1 o'clock at noon, Lin Yu wanted to run away, but she overestimated her condition and almost broke her waist. In the end, she could only collapse in Lin Fan's arms. Looking at Lin Yu's resentful eyes, Lin Fan tickled her nose and asked, "Do you still dare?" Lin Yu wanted to be tough, but after considering Lin Fan's strength, she compared after looking at her own strength, Lin Yu felt that life was more important. In the afternoon, Lin Yu was recuperating in the master bedroom, while Lin Fan came outside the villa. He had thought about it yesterday. If he wanted to restore the network signal in the inner city, he would at least be able to watch TV, right? Lin Fan looked through the system mall and couldn't find what he wanted, so he simply asked the system directly. "System, is there any satellite or the like? Restore the signal problem in Judgment City. There is no electricity and can only be used for lighting." "That's boring." "Sir, the system mall has the Eye of God satellite. This satellite has a service life of up to 1,000 years. It generates electricity with light and its material can survive the core of a nuclear explosion unscathed. The Eye of God satellite has a variety of functions. The basic thing is to provide network signals. As long as they are TV series, movies, etc. that have ever appeared on the earth, God's Eye can analyze and include them. God's Eye only serves the Lord's own forces. Whether you establish a base in the Magic City or other cities, God's Eye can restore the signal problems in that area in a targeted manner. This is the most basic civilian version. Price, 100,000 points. After hearing what the system said, Lin Fan knew that there must be some big move to be unleashed later. Sure enough, before Lin Fan could ask, the system sounded another notification sound. The second is the war version. The Eye of God can launch a dark matter destruction cannon, hitting where it points. According to different targets and different instructions, the intensity of destruction can be adjusted. The minimum can accurately kill an ant on the ground, and the maximum can destroy the earth. Price, 100 million points. Lin Fan. Where are you? How dare you say 100 million points? However, the maximum output can destroy stars with one strike, which seems really awesome. Although he won't be able to use it. Just kidding, the Earth exploded. Where did he go? Traveling the universe? Or be an interstellar invader? I really don't know if there are any alien life planets other than the Earth. If not, just GG. For the war version, although Lin Fan wanted to redeem the 100 million points made Lin Fan have no choice but to give up. Your sister's 100 million points. Lin Fan, who had just drifted for a short time, immediately felt his poverty. But then I thought about it, there are 7 billion people in the world, and even if 1/7th of them survive, there are still 6.9 billion zombies in the world. Even if the major empires kill some of them, there will still be at least 3 billion, right? 3 billion points are enough for him to buy 30 war versions of the Eye of God. When the points are enough, it is not impossible to buy one for fun. For the destructive power of the Star Destroyer cannon, Lin Fan feels that it is necessary to buy it. 1. When you are in a bad mood, face Mars or the Sun, forget about the Sun, I really can't fight this. System, exchange it for me for the civilian version of the Eye of God. This thing doesn't require me to get a rocket to launch it into outer space, right? Lord, after the redemption of the Eye of God is completed, it will appear in outer space, and then activate a series of functions. All movies, animations, TV series, variety shows and even short videos in the world can be received by Judgment City, including some neon words. Rainbow Empire educational films, and the Lord's favorite Riffin. Lin Fan. Can you shut up? If you don't speak, no one will treat you as a mute. Everything you say is full of asterisks. Who knows what unhealthy things you are talking about? As a man with a large harem, Lin Fan was very disdainful of these things. Just kidding, is he someone who would read that kind of thing? System, where can I find this? Or how to play it, system? Listening to the system's blind tone, Lin Fan coughed twice and said, "It's okay, I'll just ask, can I redeem it?" Ding. After deducting 100,000 points, the civilian version of God's Eye has been launched into outer space and is now being activated. It is expected that the network signal in the internal area of Judgment City will be restored in 10 seconds. Tip: you only need to search and you can watch it normally. There is no need to circumvent the wall, no need to download, and there will be no mosaic. I wish you a happy life. Nima, this system is so considerate. After the God's Eye satellite was released, Lin Fan wanted to go back to the cinema in the villa to watch it, but after taking 2 steps, Lin Fan stopped. It seemed that he really didn't need to go now. Look at those, he is now a lord, and he has many good horses under his hands. If he wants, he can change the same one every day. It seems that there is really no need to look at those. At most, they are just some feelings, right? Such a thinking about it, Lin Fan was a little uninterested, and then he asked Xiao Mingxiu to go to the theater to watch the animated movie, and watch and learn. The main thing was to let Xiao Mingxiu watch and learn, and stop being like a little silly cat all day long, knowing nothing. Lin Fan had a very comfortable life here, and the female warriors cleaned up the zombies very quickly. Lin Yu did not get up after all that day, and she paid a heavy price for her provocative behavior. Time passed day by day, just as Lin Fan as expected. As the number of female warriors increased, by the afternoon of the 3rd day, the inside of the 2nd city wall had been completely cleaned. There was no more zombies within the 1,600 square kilometers. For 3 days, Lin Fan worked as a salty fish at home. Every day he swam, sang songs, watched movies, or played a game with the maids where he would take off his clothes if he lost. In short, his life was quite nourishing. But this nourishing life also came to an end on the 3rd day. The City of Judgment will continue to expand. As for this expansion, Lin Fan has already planned to use the G1503 highway as a boundary to cover the entire Demon City. This area will cover the entire Demon City that has become a ruin. The capital warlord Lu family is also included. As long as the zombies within the G1503 highway are cleared, the Magic City can be said to be won. Taking down the Magic City is only the first step, and then it will expand to places like Su City. Lin Fan plans to speed up his pace. Now, there are only 7 days left before he wakes up, which is exactly 1 month away. Lin Fan plans to capture the Magic City within this month, and at the same time, completely stabilize the Magic City area. By then, he left the Magic City and went to other cities to develop. In fact, there were many choices. Even if he did not go to other cities, Lin Fan could still come across the ocean and go to places like Bangsa Country and Neon Empire. The Eastern Empire did not do this decades ago. He can do it now. Lin Fan still remembers, didn't Emperor Tokuji Yamashita want to recruit him to be the princess's consort? He was called a consort, right? There was no need for this old bastard to recruit him, he went and grabbed it himself. Do you need to be canonized by you? And the Bangsa Empire, the whole universe really belongs to you. Lin Fan can't even remember when there was an excellent bloodline from the Bangsa Empire. In the past, they all evaporated for him. I completely wiped out your excellent bloodline. By the way, there is also the Asin Empire. You are the most powerful country in the world every day. You are seeking death at the border. If you don't give up your mother's grave will be covered with dust. He won't be called Lin Fan. In the living room, Lin Yuyu, Zhao Wanqing, Zhao Yanyan, Li Saiki, Mu Yuqing, Li Yun, Zhang Kaiyu, and Yu Yiren were all lined up. Next to them were women such as Zhou Ziyan, Jasmine, and Yerulin. Lin Fan walked over and stood there. Sit down on the sofa in the middle. There is no other meaning in mobilizing troops like this today. I just plan to mobilize everyone and use a destructive attitude to directly clean up all the zombies in the Magic City within the G1503 expressway. Wanqing, please report our current situation. Zhao Wanqing picked up the folder next to her and opened it, looked at the text above, and read according to the latest statistics, the current total population of Judgment City is 11,2103, and the total number of female warriors is 51,011. The number of female warriors above the Qi condensation realm is there are 21,054 people, and the number of female warriors above the Ninggang realm is 1,051. The total population is over 110,000, exceeding Lin Fan's expectations. The ratio of female warriors to maids is also quite normal. Overall, the number of combat personnel is still large. The purpose of bringing you here today should be clear, so I won't say more. There are 1,000 female warriors left on duty in the City of Judgment, and all the rest are dispatched. The goal is to clear out all the demonic cities within the G1503 highway. Zombies, carpet cleaning has officially begun, leaving no zombies behind. Action. Yes. After Lin Fan finished speaking, Lin Yuyu and others suddenly stood up, with serious faces, and shouted in unison. Watching the girls leave the villa, Lin Fan followed him outside the villa. Looking up at the sky above his head, Lin Fan silently opened the system mall. System, the Dragnet system redeemed it for me, right? Ding. Deduct 1 million points and successfully redeem the Dragnet system. Please select the placement area. Temporarily placed on the second city wall. Ding. It is confirmed that the placement location is the second city wall, covering a total area of 1,600 square kilometers, and the Dragnet system has been activated. The sound of the system fell, and buildings like light prism towers suddenly rose on the outermost city wall. A white ball of light was suspended above these buildings. There was such a building every 100 meters on the city wall. Rays of light shuttled on these light balls, and finally intertwined into a large white net that enveloped the entire inner city. The light rays intertwined into a net, and then slowly rose up toward the sky above the inner city, and finally disappeared above 1,000 meters in the sky. As the white net disappeared, the light tower-like buildings on the city wall also disappeared out of thin air, as if nothing had happened. Standing at the door of the villa, watching the white net in the sky disappear, Lin Fan silently relaxed. He took a breath. With this Dragnet system as a protection, even when he is not around, missiles, zombies and birds, don't even think about getting close to the inner city, they will be smashed by you in mid-air, regardless of what you come for. No matter how far you come, everything will be evaporated. The same goes for nuclear bombs. The Dragnet system has the function of detecting targets. But any attack aimed at the inner city can be detected 100 kilometers away and detonated for you with lasers in minutes. Not only that, if there is a woman in the inner city who dares to plot evil, the Dragnet system will kill you instantly. This is a weakened version of the Eye of God with its own detection function, except that the destructive power is not as good as the war version of the Eye of God. It's not weak at all in other aspects. With this Drag and EarthNet system, the base here in the Magic City will be impregnable.